Hi everyone, welcome to our Wellbeing Panel here at ICHK. What this is a question and answer session with members of our pastoral care team, during which we'll discuss tips, tools and strategies for supporting mental health and wellbeing as we're going through these uncertain times with COVID. My name is Sean McDermott. I'm the Deputy Head of School here at ICHK, and I'm joined by Sammy Chan, who is a teacher of IB Psychology and Learning Support, Christy Choi, our school counsellor and wellbeing educator, and Erin Logus, who is our Director of Student Welfare. Welcome to all of you. Christy, I'd like to start with you. What do you think is unique about the situation that we're currently facing in terms of student and family wellbeing?
Some students are benefiting from the situation, like getting more sleep, where others are facing more challenges, like feeling isolated. And it's the same thing with families too, where they feel that there's a lot more time to be together, or which can be a positive or a negative experience.
Sure.
But overall, I feel like this is quite a novel opportunity for growth. And this is for both the positive and the negative scenarios. For the ones who are benefiting, it's an opportunity for more self-knowledge, and for the ones who are struggling more, then it's an opportunity to learn different coping strategies or methods or something along those lines. So it definitely doesn't mean that there's an expectation of doing these quarantine feats or whatever. There's just a lesson in simply getting through COVID.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. So a lesson. So there's something to be learned from all of this. It's an opportunity for growth and learning. Great. Thanks, Christy. Sammy, I mean, we can acknowledge that this is a stressful time. Is stress always a bad thing? I mean, are there benefits to stress and feeling a bit of stress?
I think we should look at the amount of stress. So, the right amount of stress actually can be a good thing. And there are, plenty of research about, the hormone cortisol, the stress hormone cortisol. And there is a study that shows that, which is a reference to Newcomer et al., actually in IB Psychology as well. So he injects participants with high level of cortisol, low level cortisol, and also a placebo group, so a control group. And the results show that low amount of cortisol actually helps record, especially in declarative memory. So that paper actually indicates that right amount of cortisol, right amount of stress hormone actually might have a better impact on our academic learning. And also, I think we should look at stress in a positive way. For example, it helps us to build new capacity and resilience. It challenges us, out of our comfort zone, and also let us know what we are actually not good at as an individual and how we can develop ourselves.
Yeah. So Sammy, if the stress becomes too much, how can people sort of take care of their mental health and well-being, and how can the process of taking care of themselves improve their lives? What do you think?
Well, I think you need to recognize where the stress is coming from. So is it social, or is it work, or is it academic? I think identify the source of stress would relieve you, and it will help you to come to a solution.
Sure.
It is, it has a huge impact. It's not just yourself. I think it's about people around you, people who actually care about you as well. So, and also your physical health. So it's a huge impact. It's not just about individual.
Sure. Yeah. How about you, Christy? What do you think? I mean, why is it important for people to take care of their mental health, and why is that process important? How does it benefit people? How does it benefit their lives?
Right. So I feel like you bring yourself wherever you go. You can't escape yourself. So when you do take care of your mental health, it allows you to tackle whatever it is you need to tackle with more ease and clarity, and probably more joy too. So I just feel like it makes everything easier.
Sure. And what are what practical advice or tips? So if someone is feeling a bit overwhelmed, the stress is feeling a bit too much, what sort of practical tips would you offer one of our students who was dealing with stress, and how could they de-stress at home?
So I'd echo what Sammy said earlier about figuring out what the stressors are first and then work from there. Like ask yourself, what is it that you feel and what is it that you need right now?
Mhm.
Is it something physical, which might mean like more sleep or taking a bath, or is it something psychological where you might need to go do a meditation or something like that, or go for a walk?
Mm.
So I assume for many of us, it could be a lack of connection. And if that's the case, and we get creative with it, like you can watch Netflix party together or make cookies and drop them off for somebody. So that can still provide a sense of connection.
Sure.
And for other forms of self-care, I'd suggest like shorter and longer activities where the shorter ones can be done throughout the day as like mini bursts of energy,
Mhm.
whereas the longer ones can give like a better sense of rejuvenation. And a lot of things work as long as you set your intention to it. For example, like I'm going to take care of myself by taking a shower, but this is something that you would need to do anyway. But you're setting the intention behind it and allowing yourself to feel like, oh, this is me taking care of myself.
Sure.
And some specific activities I think could be exercise related or something that allows for expression, like drawing or painting or writing.
Mhm.
And then also inserting self-compassion and gratitude is always good, which can also like include self-reflections or meditations.
Mhm.
I think many of these activities can be done at home, but most importantly, I think is finding something that's suitable. There's no point in forcing yourself to do something that's meant to decrease stress just because it can for others, but it's actually stressful to you.
Sure. Sure. Thanks, Christy. Sammy, as a teacher, what if it's the work? What if it's the student is looking at some work and the work is causing them to feel stress? What would your advice be to a student as a teacher if
Well, I think
in that situation?
especially I think in ICHA, students are facing stress, probably like senior students, because they've got
Mm.
their IGCSE and IB. I
Mhm.
think time management is very important.
Mhm.
You need to learn through how do you prioritize your work, your IA, your essays,
Mhm.
and also revision schedule. I think if you have a timetable right in front of you,
Mhm.
so that you are taking the control of your learning, not letting the stress controlling you. I think that's
Mm.
important. Yeah, I think if you have, like myself, I think I would do a checklist, or I usually draw a timeline for myself for my deadlines, so that I feel I'm on task.
Mhm.
I'm controlling this, not um, you know I'm controlling my time, I'm controlling what I'm doing. So I think that is so important.
Sure. Who can the students reach out to? So the workers, they're feeling too much despite their best efforts, things just don't seem organized. Who can they reach out to?
Well, I think I'm all of our ICHK teachers are very reachable, because we
Mhm.
encourage adult to adult conversations. So I mean, I've got loads of students would email me about questions that they don't understand, or asking me how to develop their essays. We are, all of us are so reach out very easily through
Mm.
emails, or even like face to face, or arranging individual Zoom check-in
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
during this period of time.
Sure.
So yeah.
Thanks, Sammy. Erin, if a parent is noticing that their child is struggling with sort of signs of stress at home, um, what things should parents look for in terms of stress in their children?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So I guess I can talk a little bit first about what we tend to notice at school.
Hmm.
So often within the pastoral system, we hear from teachers who say, "Oh, I've noticed," usually it's a change in a student. So, maybe they were doing very well academically and now their attendance has dropped off. Now that we have online school, attendance can be a big factor, or maybe their participation has dropped off. They were engaged and now they're camera off and they don't want to participate. So we look for changes in behavior, I guess. Now, if you're a parent, I think this can be a little bit tricky because, of course, parenting teenagers, your children are going through changes right now anyway. So I think it can be a bit difficult to say, oh, is this just normal teenage change in behavior, or is this a sign of something bigger? And
Mm.
so I think with that, if it's moodiness or anger or sadness, like all of those can be signs that something is wrong. Change in sleeping habits, change in eating habits. Um, I mean, I think it's always better to ask to
Mm.
try to find out if you notice something, rather than just saying, "Oh, I'll chalk it up to my daughter being 15. Try to, if you notice something, then try to dig a little bit deeper with that.
So at what point do you think parents should seek additional help?
Okay, so I mean, for me, I think the earlier the better. Because I would encourage parents not to see seeking help as some like massive step that they're taking, and it's going to be like, I don't know, crossing the Rubicon or something. Like, I think it can just be a very natural, oh, things don't, you seem a little bit different, you seem a little down, you're kind of snapping at me. How are things going at school? Oh, maybe you should talk to your form tutor. Do you want my help sending an email to your form tutor? Like that kind of thing. And I think the thought of reaching out for help doesn't have to be like this big, scary, massive step. It can be just something that comes quite naturally.
Sure. I mean, how do you think that, Sammy, can I start with you with this question? How do you think ICHK is different from perhaps some other schools that are out there when it comes to understanding and improving the mental health of its students? And I'll take this question to each of you, but we'll start with Sammy.
Well, that is a huge question because we are doing a lot, differently compared to a lot of local school in Hong Kong or international school. The first time when I walked into the school, one thing that I noticed about uniform, we a lot of our kids, they just wear trainers and a shirt like what Sean is wearing. So I think that is making us as a team. So I mean, a lot of our staff members also wear the shirts. I feel like I need to wear that shirt now.
Yes.
So I think the students would think that we are as a team, and also teachers are very easily to reach out, and we use a transactional analysis to talk to students, so we treat them like an adult. We're not
5+1. Yeah.
And also we are like focusing on student strength and also trying to develop their practical life living skills throughout, deep learning, task activity, human technology, all these important elements in our in our school. And I will just leave. I will just leave the rest of the answer for Christy and Aaron.
Just a great team. Thank you, Sammy. Christy, what are your thoughts? How do you think we're different?
A lot of it, but I guess I'll just highlight that I think the staff are key in all of this, just in how they interact and support students. There's a lot of value in connection and positive interaction, and I think all the staff are really great. So,
thanks, Christy. Aaron, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, building on that just a little bit, I'm very, very pleased with how our pastoral team has dealt with all of these changes. So I think the form tutors, the heads of year, everyone just works very well together to keep an eye on students who maybe are struggling. And we've got several students, that we're reaching out to or checking in with. I think we also have a lot of support in the counseling department. So we have Christy, obviously, who's with us full time, and then some other part-time counselors as well, which is excellent. So I feel that our students are really very well supported when it comes to
what
mental
about
health.
Systems, Aaron, and flow of information? How does that work?
Yes. Yeah. So I think we've also, it works very well the way we have teachers bringing concerns to form tutor, who then can kind of collate information and maybe take it to a head of year. The heads of years also have very great relationships with the students, and so they'll also be interacting with the students. And then I also work with the head of year team, of course, to then, if it gets to a point where we think, oh, maybe the student would benefit from some counseling or from some extra kind of wellness help from Christy or one of the other members of the counseling team, then I kind of help to arrange that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, thank you all so much. We're going to wrap this up in just a moment, but to conclude, what message would you send, and we'll start with you again, Sammy, what message would you send to our community to support mental health and well-being during these uncertain times?
I mean, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Take care of yourself, eat well, sleep well, and play well. Yeah, and then try to enjoy the time with your family at this stage. I guess everybody is staying at home, so yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, Sammy. Christy, what do you think? What's your message to our community?
I'd say be compassionate to yourself and to the people around you, and then stay connected to others. Yeah.
Lovely. Erin.
Yes, yeah, I like that as well. Be forgiving of yourself, be forgiving of others. This is unprecedented. So we just need to be kind, I think.
Yeah, sure. Thank you all so much. It's been a real pleasure. It's been nice to talk like this. Share in this way. It's great. We're going to wrap this up now, but this is just thank you all for joining us, and a reminder to anyone who's watching in the ICHK or wider community that if there is something that you come across that you're uncertain about involving your child or students or study, please reach out to us. We're here to help. I mean, this is what we love to do. So don't hesitate to get in touch if we can ever be of any assistance or support. And we're really looking forward to being in touch with you all again over the coming weeks and months.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.